I'll start with the SGG group and then go from there. Okay. Mm-hmm. And good morning, everybody. Welcome to Monday Morning Golf Wrap here on TGD Today. George Honeycutt with Hugh Roy III. Good morning, Hugh.
Good morning, Georgie.
How are you?
I'm hanging in there. Yourself?
Good, good. You have a good weekend?
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Watched a little golf and worked a little bit. And
Yeah?
got the tree up. And,
Oh, you got the tree up.
yeah. Heather's got her little tree topper. It's got a star with the Santa Claus in the sleigh with the reindeer, and they all got Steelers stuff on. And if they goes around,
she should be a
pretty
happy
cool.
camper.
She
The
is.
Steelers whooped up on the Falcons yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, I had to keep my mouth shut.
I bet you did. I bet you did. I want to give everybody a Monday morning golf wrap report here. Of course, Myrtle Beach Golf Authority is our sponsors for this show, and we want to thank the lovely people over there for doing that. I got to find my read in here. Boy, I can't believe I didn't have that out and
How
ready
about
to
this?
rock and roll.
You're slow this morning, George.
Yeah, a lot of things on the mind, dude. A lot of golf this weekend. I was watching golf. A lot of golf this weekend, and we got a lot to catch up on. Of course, Myrtle Beach Golf Authority, those wonderful people for sponsoring the Monday Morning Golf Wrap here at TGD Today. You can contact Kathy Ziegler or Assistant Karen Gilman over there. They got 300 rental units, over 100 golf courses to choose from. You can get in touch with them at myrtle-beachgolf.com. That's 888-272-7263. myrtle-beachgolf.com, 888-272-7263. And I want to thank Mr. Elliott and the whole crew over there for their continued sponsorship of this show.
Saw Rick this weekend.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah. We talked a little bit. It was
Good. Saturday golf group. We went out to Caledonia this week. I got to tell you, dude, Fellner and I and the rest of the group, there was 19 of us, and with pretty much unanimous, without a doubt, best golf course we played in the year. Just absolutely gorgeous property, surroundings.
It's a beautiful, beautiful place. It really is.
Could not have been treated any better by Zach, by Mike, the head pro there. Of course, Bob is the director of golf there in True Blue, and I mean, it's just a wonderful experience. The greens are dormant and they're painted, but they look like they're growing. And you're sitting there, and you're trying to read grain and the undulations in the greens. Oh my goodness, it's just such a challenge.
Oh yeah,
and it's just everybody had a tremendous day. We had a 66. A 68 and a 69 net, and they were all by our 25-plus handicappers.
there you go.
So they had great days.
They had a blast.
Oh, yeah, and they ended up winning the money.
There you go.
So congratulations to them for doing that. And also, too, I want to say congratulations to Mr. Lee Pinnick, who was selected Friday night. The Saturday Golf Group had their annual awards dinner, which we use as a holiday event, and we get everybody together. We ended up having 28 in attendance, and we ended up awarding Mr. Lee Pinnick the 2014 Player of the Year for the Saturday Golf Group.
Congratulations, Lee.
Yeah, well, Grandpa himself.
Oh, yeah.
Best 94-year-old golfer there is. I tell you, that boy is, I played with him Saturday. I want to thank Bob and the crew down there at Caledonia. They gave Lee his round of golf for his award.
Wow,
that was nice of them, wasn't
it?
it?
No kidding.
Yeah, so he had a tremendous day. He had tears in his eyes Friday night when we gave him the award. I produced a certificate, and he got some other benefits, like he got a free hour fitting at CPC at Barefoot. So he'll be coming over to get fitted for his clubs, and then he got the Caledonia round, and we're going to have him on the show here. I want to bring him in and have him jump on the show with us. He'd have a blast.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely.
But
good stuff.
good stuff. All right, let's jump out onto the world of golf here throughout the world. And as we said Thursday, Hugh, man, we had stuff going on everywhere. But let's jump up to South Africa. About a 5-hour drive from Johannesburg is a place called Leopard Creek. And just absolutely one of those phenomenal golf courses built in a game preserve, and you've played it before. But just wonderful, wonderful golf viewing, because you get to see great golf, you get to see a great golf course, but then also, too, I mean, literally they're showing every hole a shot of elephants or rhinos or, you know.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's Kruger Park's unreal.
Yeah.
And I mean, you see so much stuff, and it's just all over. South Africa, they've got the parks in different areas, and it's just it's a treat, and it's something that we don't get to see much of. So it's pretty cool.
Well, of course, they're playing the Dunhill Championship there at Leopard Creek, and it's again a tournament where you have to drive your ball, be very controlling with your drives. But however, one Brendan Grace from Wire to Wire leads this thing, and he had actually just put a new driver into play. He is currently playing the Callaway Big Bertha 815 Double Diamond, and he's improved his driving rank. Right now, he's picked up about 10 yards average. He averaged for the week 314.1 yards per drive.
Yeah, you got to remember, you got a little more altitude.
Yeah, and
so it goes a little further.
And the one on his drive on 18, the very difficult par 4, he ended up driving it 325. So congratulations to him for adopting that new technology and for putting it in play, and it quite being very successful for him so far. But Brandon ends up winning by 7.
Yep, and started the day with a one-shot lead.
Yeah.
And ironically enough, we talked about it on Thursday, and I mentioned him, but Zach Rushago, who used to caddy for me, caddy for Brandon. And they go out and win. And, watching Facebook and stuff yesterday and sent him a message. And, he sends messages back going, thank you all for all the, the accolades and whatnot. Y'all have a great holiday season. I'm out. So
Tired
he's going to
dude.
take some time. Yeah.
Yeah, tired dude.
Yeah. So
but
very cool.
Brandon, again, 20 under par. Louis Oosthuizen finishes second at 13 under par. So
that's just a whitewash, dude.
It is.
That's just, you just got beat. The man went out and just lapped the field.
Yeah.
I mean, it just
wire to wire again. It's impressive that you can go out there and, like you said, started the last day only one up, but just kept his head down and just just goes out and says, "Okay, let me post a little 66 and just see if
it's
you're
like
going to
you
catch
talked
me."
about Willett, and all that last week too.
Yeah.
He shoots 76 yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, so you look at the guys that had a chance to do something that were 2 back. I think one was Willett and the other one was one of the Italian boys, the brothers.
Francesco
Yeah,
Molinari finishes at 9
He
under.
shoots 76.
Mhm.
So, I mean, the golf course itself was not easy, and this guy went out and shot 20 under. It just says a lot about, his abilities and what we can expect from him this coming year.
Right. There was one round actually posted yesterday, Hugh, that I wanted to look up here. I had the golfer's name. I didn't write it down, and I apologize to each of our listeners and viewers for not having it immediately available. But there was one gentleman that, and I'm looking to see, I thought it was in this tournament, but it could have been at one of the other places. Goodness, I can't find. Oh, here it is. Lucas Beauregard.
Mm-hmm.
Lucas Beauregard had shot 68, 67, 66. He was actually playing in the last group yesterday. Of course, you never saw him on coverage. He was one shot behind Brandon Grace.
Mm-hmm.
He goes out and shoots 39 on the front, 50 on the back for 89.
I believe the pressure got to the young man.
39 front, 50 on the back for a total 289. He goes from one shot behind the leaders to finishing 49th at +2 with a smooth 89.
Sounds like the heat of the situation got to him, not just of South Africa, but
Maybe it was,
got it going a little sideways, and it kept going that
for
way.
me, that would have been the interesting interview at the end. Was it just, the 39 on the front, okay, you could deal with that. You can come back and 3-4, a string of birdies, you're very much back into it, at least finishing top 10.
Mm-hmm.
But does he just all of a sudden start hitting it squirrely on 10 and then just doesn't give a damn anymore, and he just
No, I don't
tanks
think
it?
it's that. It's not that. I just think he's, that golf course.
50.
50. Well,
It would be hard for me to shoot 50.
Pards, I'm not going to say anything. One year I was in the next to last group in Lafayette, Louisiana, and shot 88 and tried every shot and never hit a bad shot. I mean, hit sprinkler heads or, different
rub of the green.
And all of a sudden, next thing it's going south. And on those golf courses over there, George, I mean, you got to be careful. If you start hitting it a little squirrely, I mean, you can shoot 50 in a heartbeat. Now, there's no joke.
Oh yeah, the golf course is very difficult, no doubt about it, and that's what's so impressive about Brendan and the way he handled it. But you got to hit fairways, and the rough was nothing to deal with. And we saw even on the par threes that although they've moved a couple of the par threes away from the water to give a little bit more bailout, the guys were still chunking it into the water, especially left. Yeah. And so the golf course did not play easy, but 39.50. I have to check some records, and I'd like to do this, and I will do this to see if it was actually the highest round posted by a quote-unquote top 10 after day 3. Maybe for European Tour history. Who knows?
Could be. I don't know. That's not anything I would really think about much. But I mean, it's one of those. It's just obvious the pressure got to him, and then the harder he tried, the worse it got, and he just couldn't stop it. I mean, sometimes you just can't stop the bleeding. That's just the way it goes.
Also going on this weekend actually was Australian Tour major championship for them, but the Australian PGA Championship Gold Coast was occurring, and we talked about it a little bit on Thursday. Boo Weekley actually went out first day and shot 6 under, and ends up having the overnight lead after day 1. But everybody was wondering if, again, Adam Scott was going to be able to put himself back into the lead and pick up another PGA championship, Australian PGA. But and Adam does. He comes back, and here he is in the last group on 4th day and goes out. And but he finds himself really, again, his putting's gotten better, and I'm talking about Adam here. His putting's gotten better, but again, from 20 feet to 10 feet, even to 8 feet, Hugh, he just didn't have it. You could just see it. But he ends up finishing minus 11, going into a playoff with all people but Greg Chalmers.
Mm-hmm. And then he goes 7 holes.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Wade Ormsby was also in the playoff, and Wade only lasted, I think, 4 holes, maybe 3 holes, and but they played 18, 18, 18 3 times, and then they started moving them around to try to get some change in it. But again, Greg Chalmers, he reminds me. I made the comment to She Who Must Be Obeyed watching it last night. And I said to her, or Saturday night actually, I said to her, that had to be one of Hugh's students, because Chalmers is a dink and dunk. He's a dink and dunker, and he doesn't hit it far. He's by no means one of the longest players ever to be on the PGA tours, but however, he's just down the middle. He's very regimented. He's not mechanical, but he's technical.
He's deliberate.
Yeah,
I'd say he's deliberate. But, I mean, it just goes to prove, George, it doesn't matter how far you hit it. It's how well you play, and you can manage your game and your emotions and what you can do with it.
Well, what got him into the playoff is, first off, he shoots 8 under on the final day. So he literally moves 20 spots to get himself up at 11 under par. And so he finds himself, into the clubhouse somewhat early ahead of the final groups. And then, of course, goes out and into the playoff, and it takes 7 holes. And, again, Adam Scott, 12-footer, and pushes it right off of his line. The ball goes 4 feet by the cup, and Chalmers had laid his up to about 1.5 feet. He marked. Adam Scott goes over for the 4-footer. He has to make to continue the hole. He misses again left, and then Chalmers taps in his 1.5 feet to win.
Yeah.
So,
made a par and won.
But I think for Chalmers, no doubt about it, you sat and watched him. He had to make, I would say easily, even on Sunday, he had to make probably 100 yards worth of putts.
Yeah.
I mean, he was making bombs from 50 feet, 30 feet, 20 feet. He was just rolling the rock. And, again, he wasn't overpowering the golf course. He was barely getting onto some of the greens in regulation. hitting driver.
Yeah.
But, bless his heart. He comes out, he just rolls that rock, and it's like you've said 100,000 times on the shows, you drive for show and putt for dough.
Yeah, you got 13 clubs and a putter. Learn to use them.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
Congratulations to Greg Chalmers
Yes.
for this win. And this actually, Hugh, just a little note for our viewers and listeners. For Greg, this is huge because he has actually lost his status on the PGA Tour for 2015. And so now with this win, he's also going to win the Australian Order of Merit. And so thusly that will get him some exemptions on the
gets him
PGA
in
Tour.
the British Open, stuff like that. So that's a huge.
He'll get in the World Golf Championship, the Cadillac.
Yeah.
And he'll get into the Ned Bank Challenge. And again, like you said, he'll play in the Open Championship, the British Open.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Greg.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the way, when they used to, when we still had the World Series of Golf, on the PGA Tour, like South Africa, you won the PGA or the Open over there, you got into that.
Right.
And, they did the same thing in Australia and then over in Asia and different places. And now that tournament is gone. So, I mean, these tournaments now have different benefits. And you saw, you'd see on Facebook or different social media sites, the 3 or 4 guys that got exemptions from how they played into the majors, the British Open and whatnot. So
Right.
it was pretty cool to see, and it's nice to see, guys still have the ability to go out and do that.
Right. And he's long in the tooth. He's been around for a while.
Yes.
So it's good to see that, and you could see that by him picking up this win, he felt bad about not able to retain his PGA Tour card, and so that was a big relief off of him, and it'll enable him maybe to come over there and gain the status points and the money the money necessary to hopefully get his card back. So congratulations to Greg for this win, and again, Adam Scott finishes second, but he just ball striking as pure as I've seen it, dude. I mean, he looks so good with the ball striking, his driving, his iron play. He's as long as he's ever been. I think he may be longer with some of the new equipment. He's hitting the new 915 Titleist stuff, still playing his AP2s. But he's just striping the ball. But, boy, that putter, again,
Yeah. That's what it's about.
I mean, he wins Augusta. He won putting phenomenally. I mean, you remember the putt against Ant Hill.
Yeah.
He just, Stevie put him on the line and he rolled it in. So, but you could see him yesterday. He just seemed to be, he's doing the index finger lineup and straddling the line and all this other stuff. And I don't know. He can use the broom for another year. He's got a little bit over a year. And, does he go ahead and make the adjustment now? Does he wait till then? I think he waits because, frankly, he has improved putting-wise, but he's just not – I don't see him at the number 3 player of the – in the world golf rankings.
If they're going to allow you to use the broom and he's used it for a while, keep using it until they tell you can't. But, he has improved it, but he, like I said, and you said it earlier, you watched him all on television, and he just didn't look very confident in it.
No, he didn't. So, also going on this weekend, again, we're jumping back and forth here between continents, but let's jump back to the U.S. and the PNC Father-Son Challenge, which is really needs to be renamed the Father-Child Challenge, because there are daughters and such that play in this. And but however, the PNC Father-Son Challenge occurred down at the Ritz-Carlton in Orlando, and for the winners, interestingly, again, you had Davis Love and his son, you had Mark O'Meara and his son, you had
Tom Lehman and his,
Langer
and his,
and then you had Bernhard Langer against the rest of the field.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bernhard Langer was actually going to play with his daughter, and she got a little minor injury, and so he ended up taking his son Jason, who is 14 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you what, Jason can putt the ball. Mm-hmm. That boy can roll a rock. And then basically Bernhard Langer took on the rest of the field and beat them 23 under par. over 2 days. They end up shooting, Hugh, 62-59, minus 23.
That's pretty impressive.
And beat the Loves, Davis and Davis the 12th, by 2 shots. And, how good of a year has Bernhard had?
Oh, the man's obviously, we've talked about this till we're blue in the face. He's played unreal. And he's getting better with age. That's the scary part.
Yeah. But, Jason, the youngest player to win in the PNC Father-Son Challenge. Congratulations to him. You saw Vijay Singh and his son. And his son, Vijay's son, is a beast. He's turned out to be this huge 6'4". He's just got arms that look like the 2 big beams of steel.
Yeah.
And tries to pound it just like his dad does. And then you've got Davis Love's son, who is of decent size. You've got, of course, you had Mr. Nicholas and Steve there. Just wonderful, wonderful people. It seems that you don't get invited to play in it unless you're a major champion.
Well, then that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. And, it was nice to see Mr. Nicholas get out and play. He said, he was done being in front of the cameras and whatnot. But just to be able for people to be able to see him play and
he played well.
I know.
He played well.
He did.
Yeah, he hit some really good shots, especially Saturday. But, again, the PNC Challenge – Bernhard Langer made comment of it during the post-tournament interview after he and Jason were awarded the belts for winning the event. Of course, the winnings themselves, Jason will now be able to afford college, just in case Bernhard Langer wasn't going to give him any of the $28 million that he's won this year. But again, Jason and both Bernhard, Jason didn't speak too much, but Bernhard referred to it as his 5th major of the year. He just looks forward to it that much. It automatically is on his calendar every year, beginning of every year. And, he says, I just get so much of a kick out of playing with my kids. And he goes, I really do truly look at this as my 5th major of the year.
Oh, good. So that's nice to hear.
That's nice to hear. Absolutely. Also, too, going on in the state of Florida, down in the Naples area again, back-to-back weeks at Tiburon, was the Franklin Templeton Shootout. And Hugh, we covered this on Thursday. We went through some of the pairings. And interestingly, one of the pairings that we really didn't pay much attention to, but we did comment on them, ended up winning this thing at 32 under par. Mr. Jason Day and Cameron Tringali ends up winning this thing at 32 under par. Now, folks, I'm going to give you a score that they shot on Thursday.
Now, it was a scramble.
Okay, I understand. But Cameron and Jason Day record a 55.
17 under par.
55.
2-man scramble. I've seen 4 men that couldn't do that.
I've seen 4 men in an eraser that couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Could not post a 55.
That's pretty impressive.
Think about that, folks.
Harris English and Kuchar shot 15.
I know.
That's...
And then they go into the alternate shot, which is, by all sense of the word and by all of those who play in it, the tough day. This is the one that really separates the men from the boys. And they go out and shoot 64 alternate shot. Now, that is difficult, although it's modified alternate.
Yes.
But it's still alternate shot.
Yeah.
And so it was quite obvious that, like on day one in the 55, Jason had Cameron tee off first every hole. And they're in a scramble, of course, and that cut Jason loose.
Yeah.
So he could go just tear after that driver. And then they got on the greens, and they were talking so well together. They were partnering together well, brother-in-law on it, however you want to refer to it. But then Cameron was just getting up and just draining everything. The cup looked to be 1.5 feet wide to this dude.
Yeah.
He was making everything. Jason didn't even have to pull the putter out of the bag.
That's a nice feeling.
Isn't it, though?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Jason made the comment post-tournament on Thursday He only had to make 3 putts all day in a 55.
That's pretty impressive.
Is that impressive?
Yeah, that's impressive.
Okay.
That's very impressive.
All right. So, finishing literally, I'm sorry, finishing second were Kuchar and English, who were the defending champions. So, again, they come out and play extremely well.
Played great yesterday.
And finishing tied for third, the surprising group of Horschel and Poulter. I didn't know that they would finish, at 3 shots behind at 29 under.
I like the one when Horschel gave Poulter the high five and knocked him over.
Knocked him over. Slapped him on his butt. But and then also tied for third was Camilo Villegas and Keegan Bradley. Wow.
Yeah.
That came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So I really thought that some of and McDowell and Woodland were in it for a while, and they fell back, but especially on the final day, which it's a 3-day event.
Yeah.
So I would really like to see this made into a 4-day event. It would be interesting, and you have to wonder if it was 4 with Day and Tringali, but I think the way they were putting the ball, rolling the rock, shit,
Who knows?
They would have just won by 14 versus winning by 3.
Yeah.
So, congratulations to them for that. And also going on this week in Dubai, we talked about it at the Emirates Golf Course in the United Arab Emirates. You had the Omega Dubai Ladies Masters, and starting from day one, Shen Fang goes out and just dominates this thing and ends up winning the event.
Yep.
So another impressive
very
win
well
for Shen Fang for 2014.
She played solid.
She closes out the year as, really the forerunner of being number 1 player in the world for 2015 and continuing this play. I mean, she's only, 11 years old? Something like that? So
I don't think she's quite that young, but yeah, she's definitely young. But she played very, very well, and no real hiccups to it. Just kind of boring, straight up, and next thing you know, she's running on through it.
Well, we've talked about that with her. That she's not overpowering, she's not one of the longer hitters, and she's got kind of a stop at the top swing. Would you agree?
Yeah.
I mean, you're the instructor, I'm not, but it's a stop at the top swing. So where she gets up there, she sets her hands, and then it's just like an unloading of one piece down to the ball.
Yeah.
And but again, I had a gentleman come by the CPC Center the other day, and he has listened to our programs, and he made the comment about you, Hugh, that he took your recommendation of several months back and has been paying much more attention to the ladies' tour in observing. He said, I will purposely, if the ladies are on and the men are on, I will watch the ladies before I watch the men now, because of what Q's comment was about the ladies hitting more clubs and yardages
Things in
per
common,
clubs
yes.
versus, what an amateur male would be playing. And he goes, I got to tell you, he mentioned Shen Fang. He goes, she goes out and she's got 170 yards and she's hitting a hybrid. And here she is, the best player in the ladies' game right now, and I can relate to that.
Mm-hmm. Good.
I can't relate to a 8-iron from 170, which what these guys are playing. But I can relate to her taking that hybrid and hitting it 170 and then making it stop like a butterfly with sore feet.
Yeah.
So he goes, be sure to tell Mr. Royer thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
For the comment.
Glad something I had to say got listened to.
Oh, Lord. D, can you shut his mic off, please?
So.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
All right, guys. That's a quick Monday morning golf wrap, of course, brought to you by the Myrtle Beach Golf Authority. I want to thank those lovely people for doing that. I've got a readout here somewhere. You want to do it, or you want me to do it?
No, you've got it. It's over to the left under your phone.
This Thursday, we're going to have some guests in. I'm going to try to get Jim Merriman in. I'd like to have Lee Penix drop by. Who knows? We'll have Al with us, of course.
Okay.
So, and we'll be talking about some other things. And I'm going to bring up a kind of a controversial topic for Thursday for the roundtable.
All right.
So I won't send you a note on it until Wednesday night.
That's fine.
I don't want you to have too much time to prep. Okay?
I hear you.
Yeah, that way I'll be dominant. Okay. TGD Radio and TGD TV are produced and broadcast by the Zeus Radio Network for thegolfdirector.com. When visiting The Golf Director, please be sure to navigate over to our featured course pages where you'll find up-to-date information about course conditions, specials, and much, much more. Need help with your next golf vacation? Hey, just give Dave a call. 844-GO-GOLF-1, 844-464-6531. Is Dave still answering the phone?
Oh, yeah, Dave's still answering the phone.
All right, just call Dave. All of our TGD programming is archived for listening and viewing on demand. To catch up on any show you may have missed, click on the TGD Radio or the TGD TV tabs in the menu screen at thegolfdirector.com. For HR3 Hugh Roy III, I'm George Honeycutt, the Godfather. We thank you for tuning in. And for Big D behind the glass, he's going to be having more TGD golf news and information coming up for you next.
All right, fellas.